Yeah, Mr. Andre Rozier. So we just wanted to get in contact with you to see how were the negotiations coming along for the Ndam fight. We know the tentative date is for September, and the clock is ticking. So I wanted to know if that fight doesn't happen, is there a backup plan for Curtis Stevens?
Well, right now it seems like things are up in the air in regards to the actual date of the bout and the location and the option of television. Those things are being worked on by Ndam's promoter who won the first bid. But I'm not sure that it's going to happen, and this won't be the first time that, quote-unquote, somebody's won a first bid and they couldn't follow through on a fight. But I'm usually an optimist when it comes to all events and particulars in boxing, regardless how this game is dirty as dirty can be. I'm always looking for that silver lining, but I think that this might actually be a bout that doesn't take place when it's supposed to, if it takes place at all.
Now, assuming that this fight could take place, what would this mean for Curtis Stevens in terms of not only getting the win, but this style matchup? It seems like this would be an all-action affair, something that the fight fans could definitely get behind, and the winner could come out a lot more popular after this fight.
Well, to begin with, as we do remember when he fought Kid Chocolate, he put on a really, really exciting performance by getting up off the canvas as many times as he did. And in between getting up off the canvas, he was actually doing a very good job of pulling together some rounds while he was fighting his butt off. My thing is, if the Curtis that we expect and the Curtis that we all love to see shows up, if he gets clipped, he's not going to get back up. So, I mean, I'm gonna charge him and prepare him to be ready to stay on Ndam and not to give him any room to breathe and to apply constant pressure. But it's still going to be up to Kurt to give us 100%, and I hope he does.
Now, what's the end goal for Curtis Stevens? Because a couple of months ago, of course, we know that he fought Gennady Golovkin, which at the time wasn't the top guy. I guess he was the top guy amongst, the writers, critics, and hardcore fans. But at the time, Sergio Martinez still was the champion. Now that he's dethroned, I mean, what's the end goal? Because, I mean, is Stevens looking to get back in there with Golovkin ultimately?
Well, I mean, this is one of the things that he stated he'd like to do. He'd like to fight Golovkin again. And quite honestly, from watching most of Golovkin's bouts, other than Kasim Uma, who gave a valiant effort, but he just didn't have all the necessary characteristics and tools to pull off a major win. Kurt actually does. But we know boxing is more than just the physicalities of it. 99.9% of this game is mental. And you could be King Kong, but if King Kong won't climb the Empire State, how's he going to knock down a few of those planes that are after him? So you just can't have the ability, but you have to apply the ability. Now, if Curtis were to apply his capabilities in the ring, I honestly believe that he would be able to not only win a fight with Gennady, but also he would have the chance to actually hurt him, if not stop him. But we need to see that particular Curtis. We need to see the vicious, the marauding pit bull Curtis for that to happen. If we don't see that, then the end results might be exactly the same.
Now, do you hold out any, hope that a possible Peter Quillen or Danny Jacobs fight could be made with Curtis Stevens, being as though these guys are either from New York or have been adopted by New York, and the Barclays Center has become a center for boxing for the East Coast as of late. And it could just be a fight that increases popularity for all the aforementioned names.
Well, my thing is, Kurt and Danny won't fight each other because they're from the same camp. I actually train both of them, so that won't be happening. Kid Chocolate, he's on both their radars. And Kid Chocolate is a near and dear friend of mine and ours, but it's the business of boxing. So he's on the radar, and there's some things being shaken up. Like Danny will be fighting for the WBA regular title on August 9th. But at the same time, he's in position to be the number one in the WBC, the number one contender. So there's some really important and viable options there for both my middleweights, which I'm happy about.
Yeah, let's switch it a little bit to Danny Jacobs. He's going to be taking on Fletcher, an Australian foe, coming up August 9th on the Danny Garcia-Rod Soccer undercard. But my concern is that the title that he's going to be fighting for, he would then become the mandatory challenger for Gennady Golovkin. Is that a route that he wants to take? Because we've seen what happened at the hands of Dmitry Pirog a couple of years ago. Can Jacobs take the type of power that Golovkin dishes out?
Well, my thing is this. When we fought Pirog, Danny was in a really bad place. I mean, once again, it goes right back to the same thing, that 99.9% mentality. The psychology of boxing is necessary to be implemented when you're preparing and fighting for a world title. And Danny had just lost his grandmother, who was more like his mother figure, and his head really wasn't there. He didn't even want to be at the fight, to tell you, at that point in time, because he wasn't there when she passed away. She passed away when he was in Las Vegas. So. And he was a youngster at the time. It was a lot for a young man to bear. And everyone isn't the same. I mean, it takes a very, very special person to fight with all of that on their table. And although he did get caught with that shot that put him down, he was still doing a fantastic job after the first round in the fight. Actually, he was winning the fight. So he's in a different place now. He's a cancer survivor. I mean, he's seen death right in his face, literally seen it coming to him. And his mentality now is like, Gennady Golovkin, and I can punch too. My knockout ratio is basically the same as his. Danny has fought 27 times. He's had 24 knockouts. Gennady is in the same area. Danny's a lot faster than Gennady. Danny is a lot sharper than Gennady. All Danny has to do is feel like Danny feels like right now. If he wants to get there and show the world how special he is, I think all that you've seen before will be erased. And he's an incredible athlete, and that will show in a fight between those two. I will guarantee you the speed and power combination will turn Gennady's attention from what has been going on, because as we do know, with pressure, Gennady starts to falter. I saw that in the Curtis Stevens bout, which was what upset me the most, that Curtis didn't see it himself. That if you put pressure on him, he starts to falter. So
now, you compared the power of Jacobs to Gennady, but I don't know. I would have to question: is it a fair comparison, being as though the level of opposition that Gennady has faced, while it's been criticized, it's still, a couple of levels above the competition that Jacobs has been facing his past 5 fights. There's no comparison to Gennady's last 5 fights.
No, there is no comparison. I'm not going to say that. I'm not saying that. I'm telling you from a trainer's point of view. I've had a fighter that's been in the ring with him. Honestly, Curtis is the biggest puncher in the middleweight division when he lets his hands go. I gave the stats to it when we had our fun affair, Abel and myself, when we were going to and fro. And he was telling me, well, Gennady is a very good puncher, but when it comes to sheer concussive power, I haven't seen anybody that does it better than Curtis. Yeah, Gennady will knock you down, and Gennady will beat you up, and there's a lot of people who can do that to you. But when it comes to getting cracked and you go to sleep, I haven't seen anybody that does it better than Curtis. Literally. I mean, Gennady, people get up and then they stop fighting. So, but when you tell me and you show me, I can show you a presentation of knockouts from Curtis's whole career that are just simply devastating. Devastating. I'm not talking about, I won the fight by KO or TKO. I'm talking about the guy that get up. Concussive, sheer punching power.
My last question is, you faced Gennady in one way or another with Curtis Stevens. You trained both Stevens and Jacobs. Do you feel that Jacob has a better chance because of the speed?
Well, the speed is, the speed and the height are inherent differences that will definitely help him. And Danny has good feet. I mean, he has really, really good feet. And I think those characteristics, because I'm not, like I said, once again, I'm not saying that Danny is one of the most hellacious punchers in the middleweight division, but you couple his punching power with the speed, and it's dangerous. And he will throw more than 3 punches at you. He'll try to mix a combination of 7 or 8, and you never know. I mean, when he knocked out Giovanni Lorenzo had never been stopped before, never. And, yeah, he's on the flip side of his career, but nonetheless, when he got in there with Danny, he got clipped for the first time in his career. So,
well, Mr. Rose, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say I think the differences will show, and those are some of the inherent characteristics of Danny's capabilities that will give and pose major problems if he were to get in the ring and fight Gennady.
Well, as always, the Boxing Voice appreciates you giving us this time, and we will be tuned in and live at Danny Jacobs' fight, and we hope to see more coming from you and your team.
Oh, I do appreciate it. Anytime. I enjoy the conversation. I don't get it like this often, so I definitely appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Bye-bye.